Well, welcome back to me weekly yarns. What have we been doing this week then? Well, seen earlier in the week, we got the clutch back on, but we had a few little issues with it. You'll see, I've got a snippet and later on in the yarns here. When we went, because we put this in, I put the clutch cover on, put the pedal on, put all the linkages in place, went to release the plates. I could only get the main plate to release, and it was during that, when you look down through the little inspection hatch off the top of here, you could see the fingers moving up and down on the pins. So we took a finger off, and the inside of the fingers are very badly worn. And while I was pushing the clutch pedal, I was also watching the fingers through the opening, and I was noticing in here this is the pin that the fingers pivot. This is where the release plate sits, right? And I noticed there was an awful lot of play in the pin, all three pins. It's a bit worn, to say the least. Those are lovely round holes, aren't they? Huh? They'll work, definitely. I thought maybe it's the roller bearings in. There's roller bearings in here, 19 little needles in each, and I thought they may have collapsed. Or again, I thought myself, as somebody been in fiddling with the shim packs that these roll on, but they hadn't. I think it's purely and simply down to where in the hole, where on the pin. So it looks like I'm gonna have to have a new pressure plate put in, isn't it? So we'll give you a quick look at the clutch. We'll show you how much play was in these fingers. I put the finger back on. You can do that with it. It's a bit fiddly, but you can get it done. So we'll show you how much play is in these fingers. All right. This is the thing I've just put them back in. Now, if we go into there, you watch here. There. There's not a lot of play. There is some play there, but not a lot. But there's more because the hole in the finger was worn. So I think at that point we then have to look at, we'll take all this out, we can take this off again and get it replaced. It is possible to totally disassemble the pressure plate whilst it's in the tractor. What you can do is take out 4 bolts at, say for instance, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Put in a piece of 2-inch stud with a nut on it. Wind the nut down till it replaces the bolt head. Then take the rest of the bolts out. Then you can wind the studs out, wind the nuts out on the studs. Don't let the studs come out. You need to wind the nuts out on the stud one at a time. And by that I mean like half a turn, half a turn, half a turn. I don't mean wind it right out, because you have to release the pressure of these springs from there once you get the fingers off. If you remove it, well, you're going to have to remove the shafts to get the pressure plate out anyway. So remove the shafts, replace your bolts with studs, take your fingers out. As you wind this out on the studs, this will all open up. Your pressure plate, which is this part here, which is the pressure plate inside, will all just disassemble. So it is possible to do that. A lot of people prefer to take the flywheel off, put the whole lot on a bench so it's lying flat, and do it the same way with the studs, but do it the same way on a bench. I'm going to have a look early in the week, and we're going to see if we can get pins, fingers and rattle springs, because the rattle springs are nearly worn through as well. When I took the clutch off, and it's my own fault, the clutch was working when it came off, so I assumed the clutch was fine, other than the wear on the plates. So I checked the front of the friction, the front of the pressure plate for wear and scoring and cracking, and I checked the intermediate plate for the same damage on both sides, and they were fine. There wasn't a problem with cracking or scoring. So 2 new plates were put in, the pressure plate put back on, and I never thought to check the travel on the pressure plate. So I put all that back in. We also had the problems with the snout, and again, that was my fault, assuming that the components that came out of one tractor were the same as the components that would fit into its brother tractor, because the gearbox and the snout of that other shaft were off a Davy Brown 990, so you think they would fit, but they don't. And I should have just done like I've done on the video, I should have just done a very quick nose to nose comparison, and we would have seen straight away there were different snouts. But we got that resolved, we've got that put in. But I went to release the pressure to allow the plates just to centralise themselves by themselves under their own weight. I could get the main plate to release, I couldn't get the PTO to release, even though we had set up the clearances in here, it still wouldn't release. And at that point you notice the wear in the fingers. So we took a finger out, we'll have a look at it, and it becomes obvious that the pin, it becomes obvious as soon as you pull a pin out that the pins are incredibly badly worn, the rattle springs are worn. I don't think it's a shim pack height thing, I think it's just wear and tear in the fingers and in the pins. So we're going to have a look and see if we can get parts for that, right? I've just had a quick look online there, and John Moore dropped a message saying, have you checked the finger heights? Well, no I didn't, but by the time I started to get into it to look at the finger heights, we then found all this wear. So it looks as though if I cannot get parts, it's going to have to be a replacement pressure plate, but never mind. So but John, thank you very much for the comments, and also thanks very much for the message regarding the little spring clips on the back of the throwout bearing. What I did, because that screw was snapped, the adjustment screw was snapped, and basically within about a day you messaged as well with the requirement for the spring clips for the back of the throwout bearing. So what I did was, I got a photograph. I'll show you what I do with Colin Stewart, who's up in Aberdeen. I sent Colin a picture like this of the damaged screw that I need, and I also sent him this picture because of John Moore's message comment. I sent him this picture, which is of the parts book, and I asked Colin, have you got the replacement screw, have you got these spring clips? And what Colin does, he said if he's got them, before he packs them off into the post, he will send you down a photograph of what he has. So, and again, I'll show you the picture Colin sent, and then what you do is you get back in touch with Colin and say, yeah, that's what I'm after, pop them down in the post please. It just saves things arriving that aren't right, you know what I mean? So thank you very much Colin, thank you very much John, both your help and your assistance is greatly appreciated. But as I say, I think it's going to have to be a replacement clutch cover for that. Well, you all know I like a good car boot sale. Been a while since I've been up to Amble, a couple of weeks at least. Went up this morning, fella was there, reamers. The last time I was there, this fellow was there and he had a box full of reamers. These are all hand reamers. He had machine reamers, he had inline borers that you put into the chucks with the cutting edge in the middle so you can pass through an eye. He had quite a bit of gear, and I offered him £10 for the box full of kit, and he wanted 20, so we just agreed to disagree, and we left them with him. But I knew I would get them off him at the end. But been up there this morning, 7 reamers I pulled out of his box full of tricks. The rest, when I had a look, some machine counterbores and things like that. Really, if you bought them as a bulk buy, they'd be worth having, but you wouldn't want to buy them individually because they're not much use to you unless you've got a milling machine or a lathe to use them in. But anyway, so all these are Imperial reamers. I've got 7, 50p each. I put the wax on them, right? I've got a pan full of wax down there that I'm melting. I do this with me taps as well. The big taps that I'm not using on a frequent basis, I coat them all up to protect the edges. So I've done them, 7 there. There is a 3/4, a 9/16, ½ inch, an 11/32, a 3/8, and 2/4. So for 50p each, you cannot really go wrong, can you? Huh? Remember, where is it? Remember this, a couple of weeks ago, wanted an oil pressure gauge for here, didn't we? Ordered the oil pressure gauge, it turned up, I think I told you last week. It turned up, oil pressure gauge, M8 fitting on the back. So yesterday, with my disaster with the clutch, I thought, well, I've got to get something that is good news, haven't I, this week? Yesterday I thought, I'm going to go on eBay, I'm going to find the fittings that will get me from 8th BSP in the block here to M8 on the back of the oil pressure gauge. And at least I've got the starter motor here, I've got the clutch cover here, we can pop them on early in the week, we can spin this up, and we'll find if we've got, I thought that looked loose, and we'll find if we have any oil pressure. So while I was looking for fittings to come from M8 with a cone back, so you could put a pipe and an olive and a nut on it, and then come up to a cone fitting that would go to M8, right? The prices of fittings like that, it's just unbelievable. I cannot believe they are so, you're talking like £5 a fitting. Well, you know, you're wanting like one for the bottom plus a nut, so that's 7 or 8 quid for the fitting and the nut and the olive, and the same at the other end. Then they got the gauge. But while I was on, I spotted this. Oh, that little thing jumps out all over the place. Right, it's a test kit. With gauge, rubber hose, 8th NPT thread on fitting on here, but all the other fittings is a sideline. So this 17 quid in a nice little plastic box. So all of that, and the good thing is the NPT thread fits into the 8th BSP hole. But the problem is, it's not really a problem, but the issue, right? NPT threads are 55-degree angle on the threads. BSPT are 60 degrees. So an NPT will fit into a BSPT hole, but it won't seal. You'll always get a leak there. Now, you might look at that and think, well, that's not going to really matter because the length of time you're going to be spinning this up just to check in oil pressure, a little bit of leakage there isn't going to make any difference, and it's probably right. But we've got a fitting there that goes from MPT to BSP. So we'll pop that in there. We'll get this sorted out and we'll get it tested on Tuesday. I could have done it on Monday, but I'm at work on Monday now. So we'll get it done Tuesday. Get the cover on, we'll get this done. I need to get another battery lead. I've got a battery lead there for the earth. I need to get a battery lead for the positive. And then we'll just rig up a little wire to the solenoid and we'll get the and then we'll get everything sorted out and we'll get it spun up and we'll see where we're at. Well, that was 17 quid, and you look at it and just think, well, you know, it's going to cost, I think, I'll check the price, I think that was about 8 quid, 8 quid. So, and then, so that gets you your 2 fittings for a tenner, 18, then you've got to get the piece of pipe. Trying to get a piece of pipe is unbelievable. Everybody wants to sell you 10 metre rolls. Even the car shops want to sell you 5 metre rolls. No one has got a metre of capillary piping. So, as I say, Tuesday, that's the job for Tuesday. We'll get this moves nice and easy now, really does. So we'll get this pushed across, we'll get down that side, we'll get the starter motor put back, clutch cover on, starter motor back on, wired up, and we'll give this a spin. I'll video that for you so you can see what the pressure is. Should be good, shouldn't it? All new bearings on the bottom end, new valve train, replacement camshaft, replacement oil pump, new pistons, new rings. So, and that's the bits I can remember. Rebore, so should be good, but we'll see on Tuesday, won't we? I think this week we'll get the order put in for the nozzles. We'll get the injectors reassembled, tested, and then popped in, and we'll see if we've got any, if we can get this to fire up, because it's never been fired up since the 11th of January 21. This engine's never ran. So I think we'll get the oil pressure checked out, make sure we've got oil pressure, get the injectors put back in, and see if we kind of get this up and running. And then, as I say, we'll look at the back end. I think we'll do what we can. We'll start and get some painting done. There's lots of painting to get done. So we'll get some painting done this next week. It'll probably take us a couple of weeks to save up to be able to buy clutch pressure plate. As I say, that £300 off one business, and that's probably plus VAT, so that's 360. And then it'll be carriage on top of that, and that'll be the best part of 20-30 quid for the weight of it. So you're probably looking at 400 quid, best part of 400 quid for one of them. Quick little one for you. One of me lapel mics. End's missing off it. Yeah. What happened was, while I was fitting the clutch, I had it in my pocket. I've got a clip to the outside of my pocket today, but I had the transmitter in my pocket. Well, it's got a little end on it, hasn't it, like this? And with it being in my pocket, I bent down the side there to do something with the clutch. I can't remember what it was. It was to do something with the clutch down there, and it got crushed up in my pocket and it just stopped working. So I had to quickly change to the spare mic that I have, and I found out that the microphone, the transmitter was working fine, the microphone's not working. And through a series of tests, I got it down to the fact that it was this end where it connects. It's here, where it connects into the little 3.5mm jack plug. This must have gotten bent here, and it snapped off the the wire connection to the pin. So I did a quick couple of tests, find out which end it was that was gone, cut the jack plug off, and what I've done, I've tested this mic, and you can test it quite simply. You get a multimeter, set it to 2000 ohms resistance, and check across your wires here. If you've got anywhere between 250 and 850, it's good. So I checked that, it was 830, mine came back at 830, which means the coil inside here is good. So that's why I've kept this with the end off. Last night eBay ordered for £2.25 a pair of 3.5mm jacks. When it comes, we'll solder this up, pop it in, test it all again, make sure it's working. Always like spare mics. I've actually ordered a replacement mic for this before I took this one to bits. I think the replacement mic was £5 or £6 or something cheap as chips, probably cheap and rubbishy, but we'll find out when it comes, and we'll have a bash at that to see what happens with it, so we can get it fixed up here. Right, well that's it for this week then. It was a bit of a short one, but not a lot's happened because of we've been buggering about with this clutch all week until we realised what was wrong with it. But never mind, we've found out now we can get sorted out and get things put right with it. But as I say, if you like the videos, please give us a thumbs up, like it, subscribe, tell your mates about it. Our channel is still growing steadily, which we're very pleased about, and it's been nice to get it north of the 400. I think we're up to 370 at the minute. Be nice to get it sort of north of 400 before the end of the month, and we'll just continue to keep it growing nice and steady. Keep the comments coming. I do love getting the comments from you guys, the likes of John Moore, Brian Monkhouse, Shane from America, Shane Bush, all come with like very good helpful information, and it's nice to see that interaction with you guys. So as I say, give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, tell your mates, and don't forget, don't overthink it, it's just nuts and bolts. We'll see you in the next video. Take care now, bye.